Social capital.
Well, social capital.
Social capital.
Wrong social capital.
Leveraging social capital.
That's social capital.
As you saw, major policymakers and executives are going gaga over the term, so that brings us to the question, what exactly is social capital? According to Professor Robert Putnam, the father of this theory, it refers to the connections among individuals, social networks, and the norms of reciprocity and trustworthiness that arise from them. One of the organizations that survives heavily on social capital is an NGO. With only limited resources at play in India, social capital has emerged to be an NGO's greatest asset. Here we look at Aid India, an Indian NGO focused on community development in rural India. Let us now look at who Aid India's major stakeholders are. They include the communities they work with, local government, their employees, funding agencies, and other NGOs they interact with. To discuss the impact of social capital on NGOs, we spoke to Venkatesh Krishnamurthy. Venki is a student of the PGPPM program in IIM Bangalore, and he was previously engaged in the NGO space in Tamil Nadu. He has worked in community development and education of impoverished masses in the state.
My name is Venkatesh. I'm currently doing my postgraduate in public policy management at IIM Bangalore. I was earlier working with an NGO called Aid India. Aid India is an international organization started off in the US. It works in education, healthcare, community development in a lot of states across the country. I also started my own non-governmental organization with a friend of mine. It's a funding foundation. We fund NGOs which are rural in education and healthcare. It's named Social Investment Foundation of India. I find that social investment and social capital are increasingly becoming buzzwords in this field, where your organizations are able to last long, they're sustainable and create better impact over a period of time.
Can you talk about the relationship between the corporate sector and the NGOs? How is this relationship worthwhile to both of them?
The relationship that exists between the corporates and the NGOs is increasingly turning symbiotic. By symbiotic, I mean there is a give and take between the corporates and the NGOs. Let us take the example of a company called Wheels India that is based in Chennai. Wheels India is a part of the TVS group. They supported 7 villages in a place called Vembakam. Vembakam is a block in Kanjipuram in Tamil Nadu. So they supported 7 villages. And the idea behind this was they were supporting the community in which their factory was based. And you had employees and their kids coming to our classes in the evenings, and there was a good relationship that the employer is established with the community. I think this will go in a long way to cement their position and make sure that the employees get retained over a period of time. The next example was about banks, specifically SBI and Citibank. SBI had in fact been gracious to donate us with close to 3,000 boards for all our villages, 3 boards per village. And the idea, initially though SBI had done it as a part of their CSR activities, there is a good way that they can interact with these villages, organize financial literacy workshops, which was organized by Citibank actually last year. And the idea that they can reach out to the public in the villages where they can make them open accounts, increase the liquidity of the banks, and there's a very good chance that the growth in the future is rural, and these banks are trying to capitalize in a very good way, and they did help us with all our ventures. We launched a lot of programs with their capital and their funding, and increasingly it's corporates are trying to leverage social capital and the use of it with NGOs, trying to reach out to rural areas and the consumers over there. This way we are benefited a lot. We get their expertise on certain things, and they are able to leverage our contacts and use it for their advantage.
What role does the government play in the functioning of the NGOs? How is this relationship mutually beneficial?
One form in which NGOs leverage social capital is through their interaction with local government bodies, their employees, bureaucrats. Aid India has a lot of interaction with government bodies, so we strongly believe that it is important to leverage existing systems and make sure that there is a system that's in place. If you can use that system for creating more impact, you should do that. So one thing that we always do is talk to the local government teachers, the local panchayat councillors, ward members, A little higher up, you talk to the district elementary education officers, the DEO, and at a much higher level, you talk to the Minister for Education in Tamil Nadu. So one thing we find is at the higher level, the interaction that you have with the ministers and various other bodies in the central level, we are not able to leverage social capital to a high extent over there. The reason being that Aid India is just one of the NGOs they interact with, and they are responsible for 50,000 villages in Tamil Nadu, and we are working in 1 by 50 of them. But as you go down the chain, as you go down the ladder, at a district level, you find that the social capital that you can leverage over there with the DEO or the CEO over there is much higher. They do want some of their results, and they are able to find some use in interacting with you or coordinating with you. As you come down to the village level or the block level, you find the interaction with the village headmasters or the local panchayat community leaders really high. For example, take the case of a councillor or a ward member who's standing for an election. If he's able to interact with all the community, the teachers, the women, and the students, he's going to get extra votes tomorrow. And this is an easy way in which social capital is leveraged by both the parties. Also, take the case of a headmaster. If he can guarantee better results for the children through our NGOs, he'll definitely coordinate with us to ensure that he gives better results to the students. This is how I see social capital grows in power as you come down the ladder, and this is really useful because at the bottom of the pyramid, if you can leverage the social capital to a high extent, the impact that you can create, say to a child who's not getting education, or to someone who's not getting good medical facilities, if you can leverage that, the impact that you create on the field will produce magical results.
How do you coordinate with other NGOs in achieving your goals? What sort of relationship exists among various NGOs?
When it comes to leveraging other NGOs and working together, having a good relationship, symbiotic relationship with other NGOs, social capital plays a crucial role here because capital is always in dearth for NGOs. We need to leverage some social capital in order to create impact. Take the example of a delivery van by which we are sending books to children in the remotest villages. If as a single NGO, if Aid India works alone, we are able to create impact at a cost X. Now, if you're able to work with complementary NGOs who are selling similar products, take for example an organization that works with say teenage girls or adolescents, if we are able to create workshops and have books on this topic, and if you're able to coordinate with them, our cost X might go down, it might become X by 2. So this way we are able to create the same impact with lesser capital.
How much reciprocity exists with the community in which you serve? How does that help you in the long term?
NGOs work to create impact on the field. They work with community leaders, various members in the community, the students, the parents. So if you look at the community, we try to intervene at all possible levels through all stakeholders to create impact. And what do we get back from the community is a question that a lot of our investors, social investors, ask us. Let me take an example of my boss at Aid India. My boss' name is Damodaran. Damodaran is from a community, one of the villages in Tamil Nadu. In 2000, he joined Aid India as someone who helps out in the office. But at that time, he sat and prepared for his exams. He cleared his exams and went on to do his undergraduation. He finished his post-graduation, and still now he's trying to continue his studies and do more of them.
So how does social capital fit into the big picture?
The idea that social capital plays an important role in all the stakeholders, the corporate who gives you money, the governments whom you work with, and the community whom you support, is a very important point that at no stakeholder can you avoid this or can you ignore this. Social capital has become such an important role, such an important role in creating impact that you need to leverage this over a period of time to be sustainable, to be viable, and to make sure that the impact that you create over a period of 5 years gets sustained over a period of 15, 20 years.
We see from these examples that social capital plays a pivotal role in evolution and sustenance of an NGO and helps it develop its relationship with various stakeholders.